There is a moment, often arriving long after the relationship has ended, when a quiet truth settles into your chest. The person who betrayed you did not understand what they were holding. They did not understand you. They did not understand the rarity of what you offered. And by the time the consequences begin unfolding in their life, you are no longer standing close enough to witness it. That is the part no one prepares you for. The narcissist who broke you did not break something replaceable. They broke something they will spend the rest of their life unconsciously searching for, often without ever knowing what they lost. And if that sentence stopped your breath for a moment, it is because somewhere inside you already knew it was true. Before we go deeper, take a moment to subscribe to this channel. This space exists for survivors who are learning to understand narcissistic abuse, rebuild their identity after emotional manipulation, restore their nervous system after prolonged stress, and reclaim the parts of themselves that were slowly dimmed inside an unhealthy relationship. Every video here is created to help you see clearly, heal intentionally, and walk forward with the kind of self-respect that no one can ever take from you again. Subscribing is not just a click, it is a quiet commitment to your own recovery. And from this point forward, you are not navigating this alone. To understand why narcissists so often underestimate the cost of their betrayal, you have to understand how they perceive relationships in the first place. In clinical literature, narcissistic personality patterns are characterized by grandiosity, a persistent need for admiration, entitlement, and a measurable deficit in empathy. These are not personality quirks. These are structural features of how the person processes connection. When empathy is impaired, other human beings are not experienced as full inner worlds with feelings, needs, and depth. They are experienced as functions, sources of validation, mirrors that reflect a desired image back. And when a person is reduced to a function, their disappearance does not register as loss in the same way it would for someone with secure attachment. This is why the narcissist often does not panic during the betrayal. They feel entitled to the outcome. They believe replacements are infinite. They believe admiration is renewable. They believe the supply they extracted from you exists everywhere, in everyone, waiting to be tapped. And because of that belief, they walk away from the most stabilizing presence in their life with a confidence that is almost breathtaking in its blindness. But there is a difference between losing control over someone and losing supply. And there is an even greater difference between losing supply and losing a person who genuinely loved them. Control can be reestablished with new targets who do not yet see the pattern. Supply can be refilled through superficial admiration, new partners, social media validation, professional status, or fresh sources of attention. But genuine love, the kind that includes loyalty, emotional safety, accurate witnessing, patience, and authentic care, cannot be manufactured. It cannot be charmed into existence. It cannot be love-bombed into a person who has already seen behind the mask. And most importantly, it cannot be rebuilt with someone whose trust has been permanently fractured. Trust, once broken through betrayal, does not regenerate the way the narcissist assumes it will. Research on interpersonal trust shows that betrayal alters the neural and emotional patterns associated with safety. Once your nervous system learns that closeness with this particular person equals danger, no amount of apology, performance, or hoovering can override that biological learning. The narcissist may return. They almost always do. But the version of you they return to no longer exists. To understand the full weight of what they lost, you have to understand what they had access to. When you genuinely loved them, you offered something that operates beneath the surface of ordinary attention. You offered consistency in a world that had taught them only transactions. You offered emotional safety, the kind that lets a nervous system finally exhale. You offered accurate reflection, seeing them clearly without flattering distortion. And you offered the rarest gift of all, the willingness to stay through difficulty. This is not something every person is capable of giving, and it is certainly not something easily found again. Yet the very traits that made you capable of loving them deeply are also the traits that were exploited. Empathy, conscientiousness, forgiveness, the tendency to take responsibility, the desire to understand others, the willingness to look inward. These qualities are protective in healthy relationships and devastating in unhealthy ones. Inside the dynamic, you were slowly conditioned through what psychologists call intermittent reinforcement, a pattern in which unpredictable rewards create the strongest possible behavioral attachment. The occasional warmth, the rare moments of tenderness, the unpredictable affection created a bond that felt almost chemical, because it was. Studies on trauma bonding describe the way cortisol, dopamine, and oxytocin become entangled in cycles of stress and relief, producing an attachment that feels deeper than logic and more powerful than reason. This is why leaving felt impossible long before it became necessary. It was not weakness, it was neurobiology. And it is also why the narcissist underestimated you. They mistook your endurance for dependence. They mistook your patience for tolerance of mistreatment. They mistook your forgiveness for an unlimited supply of chances. They believed you would always remain because you always had. They never accounted for the moment your awareness would catch up to your suffering. That moment usually arrives quietly, not in a dramatic confrontation, not in a final argument, but in a small internal shift where the cognitive dissonance finally collapses. Cognitive dissonance is the psychological discomfort created when behavior and belief no longer align. For a long time, you held two conflicting realities: the person you loved and the person who hurt you, the promises and the patterns, the words and the actions, the mask and the face beneath it. Holding those contradictions required enormous mental energy. And the day your mind finally stopped defending the version of them that did not exist, something profound happened. You began to see clearly, and clarity, once it arrives, cannot be unlearned. Gaslighting, projection, blame shifting, devaluation, discard, and hoovering are not random behaviors. They are predictable patterns within a recognizable cycle. Gaslighting destabilizes your perception, so you stop trusting your own memory. Projection assigns their behaviors and motives to you, leaving you defending yourself against accusations that describe them. Blame shifting ensures that no matter what happens, you carry the emotional weight of the relationship. Devaluation slowly erodes your sense of worth so that mistreatment feels normalized. Discard happens when you no longer serve their internal needs, often abrupt and disorienting. And hoovering, named after the vacuum, is the attempt to pull you back in once they sense their control slipping. None of this is personal in the way it feels. All of it is structural, and recognizing the structure is the beginning of freedom. Because the moment you understand the pattern, you stop personalizing it. You stop asking what you did wrong. You stop searching for the version of yourself that could have prevented their behavior. You begin to understand that no version of you would have changed the outcome, because the dynamic was never about you. It was about a person whose internal architecture cannot sustain genuine intimacy. And that realization, painful as it is also liberating. You are not the reason they could not love you well. You were the reason they came as close as they ever did. If this is resonating, take a moment to subscribe and continue this journey with us. This channel is dedicated to giving you the psychological language, emotional clarity, and practical insight needed to move through recovery with strength and dignity. Every video is designed to meet you where you are, validate what you have experienced, and equip you with the understanding necessary to never repeat these patterns again. Healing is not a single decision. It is 1,000 small ones. And this is a space where each of those decisions is supported. Now, as you continue forward, it is important to understand what healing actually is and what it is not. Healing is not revenge. Recovery is not about making them suffer. It is not about constructing the perfect ending where they finally see what they lost and beg for your return. That fantasy, while emotionally understandable, keeps you tethered to the relationship in a different form. The real work of healing is far quieter and far more powerful. It is becoming the kind of person who is no longer emotionally available to manipulation. It is restoring your nervous system so that chaos no longer feels like home. It is rebuilding your identity so that your worth no longer depends on being chosen by someone who could not see you clearly. This is where boundaries become essential. A boundary is not a punishment. It is not a wall. It is a clearly defined edge of self that communicates what you will and will not participate in. Boundaries do not require permission. They do not require agreement. They do not even require explanation. They simply require the willingness to enforce them. And when you begin enforcing them with someone who relied on your boundarylessness, the relationship cannot survive in its previous form. This is not cruelty. This is integrity. Self-respect operates similarly. As your self-respect grows, your tolerance for mistreatment shrinks. Behaviors that once felt confusing now feel obvious. Patterns that once felt subtle now feel loud. Your perception sharpens, your instincts return, and the manipulation tactics that once worked on you begin to feel almost transparent. This is not because the narcissist changed. It is because you did, and that change is irreversible. The greatest consequence a narcissist faces is not necessarily losing possessions, social status, public image, or appearances, though those may follow over time. The deeper consequence is something far more existential. It is permanently losing access to someone who truly cared about them while remaining trapped inside the limitations of their own unresolved patterns. It is repeating the same dynamic with new people, in new contexts, with the same inevitable outcomes. It is the slow, often unconscious recognition that the relationships in their life are becoming shallower, shorter, and more transactional. It is the quiet erosion that happens when a person cannot tolerate the inner work required to change. It is important here to remain balanced. Not every person with narcissistic traits experiences this consciously. Not every narcissist reflects, regrets, or recognizes their patterns. Some do, some never will. The point is not to assume what they feel. The point is to understand what they lose, regardless of whether they ever name it. They lose the rare experience of being loved by someone who saw them fully and stayed anyway. They lose access to the safety you provided. They lose the version of themselves that existed in your presence, the one you brought out simply by believing in them. And whether or not they grieve that loss consciously, the absence of it shapes the rest of their life. Meanwhile, your life moves in the opposite direction. As you heal, your nervous system slowly recalibrates. The hypervigilance softens, the startle response quiets, sleep returns, appetite returns, laughter returns, not the performed kind, but the real kind that rises from somewhere deep inside you. Your sense of self begins to reassemble, piece by piece. You remember the music you used to love, the interests you used to have, the dreams you used to carry. The version of you that existed before the relationship begins to merge with the wiser, more discerning version that exists after it. And what emerges is someone neither of those versions could have predicted. Someone stronger, someone clearer, someone almost unrecognizable to the person who once underestimated you. You begin to trust your instincts again, those quiet signals you learned to override in order to maintain the relationship. The flicker of discomfort, the internal pause before a forced yes, the small, knowing voice that tried to warn you long before you were ready to listen. That voice is not broken, it was simply silenced, and it returns the moment you begin honoring it. You also begin to understand that healing is not linear. There will be days when the grief returns unexpectedly. Days when a song, a smell, a memory, or a single word pulls you backward emotionally. This is not regression. This is integration. The mind processes trauma in waves, not in straight lines. Each wave you move through is one less wave waiting inside you. And over time, the waves become smaller, less frequent, less destabilizing, until one day you realize that the memory no longer carries the same weight. You can think of them without flinching. You can hear their name without contracting. You can imagine their life without longing to be part of it. That is freedom, and it is built slowly in the quiet decisions you make every day to choose yourself. The most powerful shift, however, is the one that happens inside your relationship with reality itself. For a long time, The narcissist defined what was real, their version of events, their interpretation of your behavior, their narrative about who you were and what you deserved. As you heal, you reclaim authorship of your own story. You stop asking permission to perceive what you perceive. You stop seeking validation for what you already know. You become the final authority on your own life. And once that authority is restored, no one can take it from you again. This is what the narcissist never realized. Betraying you was not the end of a chapter for them. It was the end of access to a person they were never capable of fully appreciating. They assumed your love was infinite. It was not. They assumed your patience was unlimited. It was not. They assumed you would always return. You did not. And in the silence that followed, the consequences began arranging themselves quietly, without your involvement, without your intervention, without your awareness. You do not need to construct their downfall. Their patterns will do that work without your participation. Your work is different. Your work is to keep choosing yourself, to keep honoring the instincts that return to you, to keep building a life so aligned with your values that the old dynamic could never fit inside it again, to recognize that peace is not boring, it is sacred, to understand that the absence of chaos is not the absence of love, it is the presence of safety, and safety, once tasted, becomes a baseline you will never willingly surrender again. So if you are still healing, still grieving, still untangling, still wondering whether you will ever feel whole again, hear this clearly. You are not behind. You are not broken. You are not naive for having loved them. You are not weak for having stayed. You are not foolish for having believed. You are a person who offered something real to someone who could not hold it. And that says everything about them and nothing damaging about you. The narcissist may never realize what they lost. They may rewrite the story. They may replace you in image, but never in essence. They may move on outwardly while remaining internally unchanged. That is not your concern anymore. Your concern is the life waiting on the other side of this healing, the relationships built on mutual respect, the mornings that begin without dread, the nervous system that finally rests, the version of you that is being assembled right now, even on the days you cannot feel it happening. If this video reached something inside you, please subscribe to the channel, like the video so it can reach other survivors who need to hear these words tonight, and share it with someone who is quietly carrying a story they have not yet been able to name. Continue your recovery here, one insight at a time, one breath at a time, one boundary at a time. You are not alone in this. You never were. And the life you are building now, the one rooted in clarity, self-respect, and emotional truth, is the life they never had the capacity to share with you. Walk toward it, slowly, steadily, without apology, because everything that is meant for the person you are becoming is already on its way.